Ever built a beautiful plan only to watch it unravel as soon as the team sees it? It's not the dates, it's not the dependencies, it's how the plan was built and who actually built it. Hi, I'm Dave and welcome back to Project Management 101. This week we're stepping into the do's and don'ts of project planning. Whether you're kicking off a new project, whether you're stepping into one that's already in flight, or whether you're aligning with a new team. How you engage in the planning sets the tone for everything that follows. So let's break down the do's and don'ts. These are really important to help you align with your teams and build great, strong relationships with your project team as you move forward through the delivery life cycle. Building on my product-based planning video, I'll pop a link up in the corner if you haven't managed to catch that one yet. It's a great lesson to help teach you a really simple way that you can break down with your team a project's end state and help you to build a better and stronger plan. So we're going to use that principle, and for this particular scenario we're going to talk about a website. So it's quite easy to visualize. From a software engineering perspective, I like to use this as a great easy way to think about the steps that we need to take to build a project plan. So it's really helpful to start with that end state in mind. So the website that we're talking about, I might start to think about what pages are on the website. How will the website look? Will it need a database? How will that connect to the website? How will we put it on the internet? Will we need web hosting? Will we need to add a layer of security? The list goes on, but those component steps come from that product-based planning approach. And it's really important for every member in the project team to visualize the project in this way, as it drives out great discussions and it allows us to spot gaps or opportunities to improve something or make sure that we meet the compliance, legal, security standards that we're aiming to achieve. So that's a vast list and it's really varied, and in your organisation it may look different, so it's worth working with your teams on the ground to make sure that you don't miss anything, but start to pull out those really vital questions. So once we've got that structure and we've started to visualise the end state of the project, it's now time to invite the team to start to shape the plan. It's really important to use facilitation tools here. So as the project manager, maybe you're a Scrum Master or maybe a different Agile delivery role or any other role within the project team, somebody facilitating the session really helps to make it easy, and that's what facilitate means, to make easy. And by facilitate, what that might mean is, how do I ask the right questions? How do I encourage the group to talk to each other? How do we make this visual? Maybe we're going to draw it on a whiteboard. Maybe we're going to write some stuff down on some paper whilst we're sat at a table. All of the different options are valid. Whatever it is, it's about collaboration and having that conversation and taking those steps and starting to think about the way that we're building out those plans, and doing that as a group is where the power of building it bottom up comes from. And this is why it's so important. This is a critical project management lesson. If you don't learn anything from any of my other videos, this is the one to focus on. So inviting the team to shape the plan and doing the facilitation, it's your role as the project manager to make sure that we're asking questions. We won't have all of the answers, but by asking targeted, sharp questions, we can pull out additional details that won't be missed in the plan. Things like, how do we connect those things together? Okay, how does that work? Does that require a piece of software? Does that require a different sort of testing? Does that require some infrastructure that we don't have? And each thing will pull out another layer of detail that you should capture into the project plan. Things like, how do we test it? Should that be automated? How do we deploy it? Will all drive out different layers of detail. Whatever you do, don't ask the team to react to a plan that you've built as a project manager. It's really going to backfire, I absolutely promise you. Take the time, build it together, and review it until you hit a point where you can treat it as baselined. When you have planning sessions over a period of weeks, use it as sessions to align and build on the foundations of the plan that you built and continually iterate it until you're at a point where everybody's happy and we can make a commitment together. Ask questions within all of those sessions is, what would make this feel achievable? Where do we see risk? Maybe ask, What do we need to allow this to exist in production? And with that, thinking about supportability, handover into BAU teams, login, monitoring, alerting, data encryption, compliance. The list is endless, so it's really important that having those conversations, asking those smart questions with the team, we're building it together, we'll get better alignment, better synergy, and ultimately a more achievable plan. It's also pulling out what are the steps that we need to align with the other areas. Now I talk about this in my project organisational skills video, and I'll pop a link up in the corner for that, where we talk about how can you be ahead of that as a proactive project manager to really drive your plan forwards. And it's important that in this stage, as you're building the plan together, you include those things, so you're starting to think about the steps and the dependency timelines to bring those things to life. Let's talk about the don'ts. So that was a lot of do's. Whatever you do, don't tell, assume, or over control. Avoid presenting a fully locked in plan with no room for any team input. That will backfire. Don't ever assume silence is agreement. That's a really big mistake you can make. Silence could mean confusion, concern, or even absolute disagreement. Make space for real dialogue to pull out any issues as early as possible. It's better to air it now than it is to baseline a plan and then watch it blow up. Early on in your career, or even later in your career, it might feel like telling is an efficient way of leading. However, it more often than not leads to disagreement and a lack of engagement, and ultimately destroys the trust in the team and the plan. So, to counteract that, let's think about challenging thoughtfully. We covered it a little bit as we were talking about the do's, but let's dive in a little bit more. So when we're thinking about challenging assumptions, do it with the team. Talk about the scenarios, talk about the assumptions that we think we're making, and just make sure everybody's on board. But feel free to challenge as a project manager, but appropriately and gently, by asking probing questions that get you to a root outcome that everybody can agree to. But don't make assumptions which are blind. You could use questions like, what would break this? Or what's missing? In a project team, it's important to encourage healthy friction. There should be an element of friction across all of the roles to ensure that we're doing the right thing for the customer and ultimately for the business. This not only builds stronger workplaces and stronger plans, it builds stronger human connections, as we know we're all serious about the same thing. And remember, challenge doesn't mean confrontation. It means curiosity and creating space for better thinking, and ultimately that is the job of you as the facilitator. So let's use a real world example to help you visualise this and bring it to life. I once stepped in to recover a large programme that had gone off track. When I picked it up, I could see there was a plan. It was very ambitious, it was super detailed, but it was really tight on times. I could see the timescales were so tight that it was really unlikely to be achievable given the complexity of the programme of work that was involved. So to start off, I got the teams on the ground together and we spent days digging through each component of the plan and understanding the real world timelines of doing that. Were there any risks? What were the variables? How complex were they? Should there be margins for the complexity? What if it took longer? What if we did it quicker? What did that look like on a literally task by task basis across the entire program plan? And this covered multiple teams across a massive organisation. It was really complex to do, but taking those steps gave us a real clear picture of what was really involved. As we dug deeper, it became really clear that the original plan was nowhere near close to reality. Over the weeks that followed that exercise, I had a really tough job of realigning the stakeholders' expectations around the reality of the programme of work, the adjusted timescales and the impact on revenue. It was really painful, I can assure you, and I earned some good battle scars from those conversations and lessons that I take forward with me now. However, no matter how tense those conversations got, because I'd worked with the team, we built the plan together. I had full buy-in and support of every technology person that was supporting the project at every level of seniority. It took the heat out of the conversation. So no matter how tense, we removed the emotion by using the data. Ultimately, we re-baselined the plan and we were able to move forward with energy. And that was great. The team feeling was much stronger, the morale was great, and the team was super focused to deliver some great outcomes without all of the unnecessary pressure that was there because the plan was wrong. You know, on reflection, when I first walked into that program, the first few weeks, the program team, I was observing them just firefighting constantly. The team hadn't flagged any hidden dependencies, the hidden timelines, the actual duration of the work, and just left the program team to run around like headless chickens, trying to tell everybody everything was okay, whilst everybody could see that it clearly wasn't. Ultimately, that was all because the plan was driven top down and not built bottom up. Whoever that program leader was decided to make a call that they would just decide the plan and tell everybody that that was what needed to happen. I've never seen that work once in my quite lengthy career now, and it's not something I'd like to try. Building with your teams allows you to build confidence together and commitment together, and that's really important when you're the leader of a project. I'd love it if you take these lessons away with you today. Planning isn't just about dates. It's about dialogue, it's about trust, it's about engagement, it's about relationships. Building your plan bottom up builds clarity, resilience, and real delivery momentum. Remember these three: ask more, tell less, and challenge together. And this one's really powerful. Plans built with people get delivered by people. So always remember, if you want your plan to stick, start with your team. I'd love it if you drop me a comment below. Why don't you tell me about a time when you've recovered a project or seen a project going awry due to a little bit of top-down planning where somebody thought it would be okay. I'd love to hear about it. Let's learn from each other. Please like and subscribe for more practical advice in project, program and delivery management. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching Project Management 101. From chaos to clarity. Take care.